again. We needed to investigate the swamp as well. And we still need to find the apprentice. Exactly. But I'd just like to say well done for not abandoning us in that cave. It was very scary, but we managed to pull through, so thank you all. Um, did Noltec have a bank of sorts? Because I do seem to remember we were slightly well, not encumbered yet, but close to being encumbered with all this money. Can we convert to other things? Mind you, my cart's there, isn't it? With the little chest on the bottom. Mm. I think we head back to Noltec for a hearty meal, deposit some of our goods, maybe get rid of some of the things that you have found, or we have found, and see if any weapons are ready to be. No, they won't be ready to yet to be made, will they? It was a fifth, wasn't it? I think. Mm. Oh, hi, Calg. Mm. Yes, indeed. Hmm. Always nice to have a spare. Hmm. Well, we need to speak to the constable. It'd be nice to go back to. I need these names on the main sheet, don't I? The wizard, Toster, sorry, and see if he's found out anything that we need to know. Um, wasn't there somebody else we wanted to speak to? Wasn't the priest? Was it? We've no. And who was mentioning about the lights on the hill? Was that the farmer? Yes, no, that's Adryan. Yeah. Mm, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. No. Lumber. Yeah. Mm. It'll give me more peace of mind as well. Straight away. Morning. No. How long's it been there, to your memory? Do you know? And who did you buy this place off? Maybe they would may know more. Ah, shame. Thank the. I have no problems. I would be all up for using it to protect the farm and protect himself. I draw the line at the Morning Star. Why, thank you. That would be much appreciated. Yes, it'd be nice to see lumber out and about. Th- I'd like to thank you for sharing. And if we find out any information, we will surely pass it on to you without hesitation. Just pop, yeah, just pop out your character sheet. Yeah. Hmm. Get to the church. Yes. Hmm. Hmm. It, it's. Hmm. And it was something that would pique my interest anyway by being like that. Um, um, I'll lean towards Rage because he primarily went into the church, um, and say, Rage, is there something strange with the church? Normally the doors are flung open to accept the flocks, or closed because he's sleeping. But just it is. I mean, for well, from what I've heard of what you talk about the priest there, he seems very zealous about his duties. Hmm. I'll be behind him. Just yeah. Yeah, it's just not, for some reason, it's not adding on some. Sorry. I will, of course, be going in with them. Yeah. Where am I? Natural one. Yes, that's right. Um, I'm going to ask everyone, and this is just a thought of mine, is the fact that I don't know about the priests of Thor, but are they deemed as magical? Are they casters of spells? Bec- Hmm. Yes, yes, because abduction. Yes, I mean his church is very out here. Is it worth somebody checking out the rear to see if he was dragged that way? Because it seems like there was an altercation here. I was going to say I'll back you up as well. Um, Now, before we go any further as we go at the back, I want to put my hand onto Rage's arm and say maybe it is best if Jet goes first and he can look for tracks as he goes. I don't want to just disturb the ground before he's had a chance to look at things. My apologies, Rage. I wasn't unaware. The pink dragon dice.
It was open.
It was
I
open.
thought you said it was closed.
Open.
I believe someone's come in the front, attacked him, and he's either fled out the back or they've taken him out the back.
Oh, I thought you said the back door was closed because when we went round we couldn't see anything. So
No, you couldn't see anything other than I mean, I didn't. Yeah, the back door was open, but
right, got you.
Ember was already examining the back door from the inside, which is why I didn't particularly call out attention to it.
Got you.
Or someone's kidnapped him, or he's run off.
Okay, well, the town's got a constable for this, so let's go and talk to him.
Agreed.
You are heading
with haste towards the constables.
to Gerald, which I believe is number 6, right?
Yep.
Gerald the carpenter, and okay, you head to Gerald's. As you get close, you can hear the familiar sound of sawing wood. The door to his workshop is open, and you can see the man himself, shirtless, kind of round his waist almost, and he is hard at sawing a number of quite thick wooden logs.
Constable.
Oh, morning.
Anything you want to tell us?
There's been a break-in at the church.
I was hoping the constable would tell us that, so it's his job to keep the peace in the town.
There's been a break-in at the church?
That's what I was hoping you'd tell us.
I know nothing about it. Nobody's come and told me.
Then I suggest you put your constable hat on and go and look at it, because it looks like the priest's been abducted.
All right, well, thank you for telling me. And he puts his sword down, and he immediately goes over, starts pulling his shirt up. And you watch as he kind of goes over, and he to the corner of the workshop, and he kind of straps on a belt with a short sword, and he picks up a bow and a quiver of arrows. Damn, he says, it never rains but it pours. And he starts to head out. As he gets to the door, he stops.
Wait, what do you mean rains but it pours? What else has been going on here?
Well, we've got the rumours of this swamp growing. We've got more people coming in from the outlying farmsteads that have been affected by the swamp. I had a brawl in the town last night. Bloody drunkards. And now you're telling me a priest's gone missing.
We've investigated the glowing lights on the hill, though. So at least that's one less thing.
He kind of almost steps out, and he stops, and he kind of turns and... Aye, tell me more.
I will relate the story of the green lights that had been visible there and the goblins that approached. I will probably be a little vague on the nature of the obelisk, other than it's dangerous. But we tracked the goblins back to their cave and have removed the threat.
Where they were led by a demonic creature called a Barghest.
I've heard of those. Very nasty creatures. So the threat to Noltec is abated?
For now, the obelisk still may present some kind of threat, but provided nobody messes with it, it should be safe enough.
Well, I'll put word around town not to go up to the pillar, and we should be good. A couple of my messengers returned last night.
Any news?
No sign of Selyna. That's another one that's gone missing, it seems.
Do you know if the priest could perform minor miracles?
Yeah, he was able to heal and bless people. Sure.
Looking at Medistra, although he's not here, it seems to fit the activity of these bandits and things that have been abducting people, if he has also been able to cast magic.
Constable, how many men do you have on your as deputies?
I don't have many. I have to go and fetch them. I could probably rustle up 5.
Yeah, I suggest they be more permanent.
I have a thought. What if the brawl in the bar was a distraction for what was happening at the church?
Point.
Perhaps.
Yes, I was going to go to the tavern. It's worth a question.
Well, I suggest you try and stay away from it. It's not the best place in town.
Perhaps the constable's eyes might have seen something we haven't. Might see something that we haven't down at the temple as well.
But if you want to go investigate the brawl, it was over at the Silver Crown, number 13 on the map.
Oh yeah,
at the back of number 7.
It says the other thing. It says a couple of things. There's definitely something going on in the Differing Woods. A couple of messengers saw movement amongst the trees. They didn't get too close. They don't know what it was, other than it wasn't a girl, and it was more than one thing. And something is moving in the western portion of the swamp, described as a ugly giant.
perhaps some kind of troll.
Well, the creature that saw it isn't always reliable on its descriptions. It often confuses human folk and humanoid folk the like. But it was quite adamant. She was quite adamant that it was an ugly giant of a brute.
Who actually saw this?
Maybe an ogre.
It could be an ogre, could be a troll, I suppose. Who saw it? Ah, that'd be Matilda.
Is Matilda one of your animal companions, or?
He nods up to the roof where you can see a pigeon with its head tucked under its wing asleep.
Oh, bless it.
That's Matilda.
That's right. Thank you.
Well, look, I better go get I better go get some of my militia sorted, and I'll go and take a look around the church.
Okay.
Should we?
Sets off at a walk, brisk walk.
Head to this tavern.
Do you think it was anything more than just a brawl?
Close proximity. It could be that the priest was in there, and he rubbed some people up the wrong way. Who knows?
It's not a bad idea. He, I would imagine he is the kind who might have rubbed someone up the wrong way, and not the sort to back down either.
No. But as Ember said, it could have been a distraction.
Does anyone find it strange that his medallion, his hammer, that he would keep around his neck, was literally on the floor, just left there?
It could be that he was trying to channel power through the medallion, and it was knocked out of his hand, or when he was knocked unconscious.
I still have that, by the way.
Excellent.
My intention is to give it back to is it Samheis?
Samheis, yeah.
When we find him.
Okay.
If Tauster has any power in divination, he may be able to locate him.
Was the medallion, Oh, it's a medallion, not a necklace. Sorry, never mind.
Well, it's just kind of a necklace, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Which is if it was a necklace, if it was the string cord, whatever, it was broken.
Yeah, is it snapped or whole?
Yeah, it's been snapped.
I think then you may have a point that he may have been trying to use it to channel his god's power. The priest back home would use sometimes a symbol or sometimes an amulet to do so.
As a focus, yes.
Another possibility is that he had a loss of faith, went on to and rampaged through his own temple, snapped the medallion off his neck, and threw it onto the floor and left. Just damaged himself in the process. Potentially. But more likely he's been abducted.
I wonder who talked to him last.
So could we actually do a divination on this this medallion?
Perhaps test it can. I do not have such powers.
It's something that I've never delved into.
Perhaps we should stop by the inn and ask around to see if he was seen last night.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, let's head off there. And I'm just going to pop to the toilet. So carry on, and I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
All right, do we want to take a quick 10-minute break then?
Yep. Good idea, because I was about to do the same.
I'll see you back here at past.
All right.
Okay,
Yes, fantastic.
Shall go and more heavily caffeinate.
Zed, my background music isn't working. Any reason why? Because I know you've got it playing, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got something playing.
Not particularly loud.
No, turn all my volume down, but oh, hang on. Sorry. I turned it way too down.
Oh, there you go. So it is working.
It is, yeah, ignore that.
All right, give me 1 second.
I hear lots of dice rolling.
Yeah. Good, isn't it?
Yeah, Medi, you haven't updated Rage's profile picture.
Oh, he's got a new pick, hasn't he? I will do that when I get a screen cap of it.
Everybody back?
Back.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody's back? Good.
I'm here.
I'm with you now.
Awesome. All right, welcome back from the break. Where were we?
Heading towards the inn.
Tavern.
Ian.
Gonna go investigate the tavern. All right, make your way over to tavern. Tavern.
I'll just say there is a risk I might do a medi or a dart this evening. There's call out at 2:30 this morning.
Oh,
Aye.
Ooh, not
ouch.
More or less operating on fumes at the moment.
Well, just go if you need to, bud. Don't worry about it. I did that last night, playing Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. I hit 10 o'clock and my eyes closed, and I had to apologise 15 minutes later because I missed 15 minutes. I had no idea what was going on.
Wait, did you just say me or Medi?
Yeah, the two of you have been known to fall asleep mid-game, so
Oh, right, yes. Oh, is that what you're doing? Okay.
there's a very real risk.
I didn't hear that bit of the story.
Even at 20 past 10 in the morning, the Silver Crown is rather busy. Several people hang outside, smoking, drinking, vomiting, spitting, cursing, all wearing kind of patchwork clothing. A couple of them you can see have hands that are stained with black. You imagine soot and things
yeah.
from mines.
Mine workers, yeah.
Several
But
of them.
I'm assuming they're on shifts and they're here all the time.
They look over towards you as you come up, and a couple of them whisper to each other, but they don't really say anything.
Morning, gentlemen. Had a hard night's work.
That's about all you get out of them is a grunt.
Okay.
I'm gonna pass over a silver piece to them and say, anything strange happened here this morning or through the night?
Give me a persuasion check. Jesus Christ. Natural 20. Despite their aversion for tieflings, one of them quickly grabs it. Aye, heard there were a fight here last night.
Oh, how awful. Is anyone hurt?
Bruised egos, broken noses, battered knuckles. The usual.
Was it a group or was it just a couple?
It was old George. He got a bit carried away. Accused Martyn's, said that he'd been sleeping with Martyn's missus. Martyn didn't take kindly to George's word, so he punched him. The next thing I know, there was 8 of them piling into each other. Couple of out-of-towners as well.
Oh, what's this about out-of-towners?
Well, a couple of out-of-towners happened to be drinking with us, and they joined in the fight, they did.
They just arrived yesterday.
Yeah, they've been loitering around for a couple of days now.
Where are they now? Do you know?
Scarpered when Geralt came over with his militia boys.
Which direction did they go?
They're into Ills.
Didn't you that strike you as mighty odd that they should just scarper into the hills?
It depends who they are, doesn't it? Like I said, never seen their likes before. White, pasty-faced people, bit like you lot. You ain't done a day's work in the mines, have you?
No, I'm too busy killing people.
Something with that big axe, that big sword of yours.
Yes.
Pasty-looking foreigners. Okay.
I used to crawl around in mines and...
Alas, I can tell you've not been with a miner.
Well,
You'd have soot on your cheeks, soot on your hands, and soot on your other cheeks.
I'm not a chimney sweep.
I can kind of give him the grin and I say, I don't think I would. Besides, you'd have to clean up.
Well, for you, darling, I'd clean up. What you
Take
doing
hours
tonight?
to scrub you.
What you doing tonight? Fancy a nice meal? The Crown here does some good mutton stew. My treat.
Well, if I'm back in town, I might take you up on that.
The other one kind of looks you up and down and... Here, Ian! She's a keeper, yeah? And the guy talking to you kind of looks over and flushes a little bit red and goes, I hope so. Seems intelligent, this one. Might be too much trouble.
It'll certainly be too much trouble for you.
Amber will be trying us not to laugh.
Do I have what I want to do? Let me check. Yeah, fireball.
Roll initiative.
I'm right by saying prestidigitation is one that cleans clothes and things, isn't it?
That's exactly what I've been reading as well.
Yeah. So I'm going to just mutter under my breath and just twiddle my fingers towards this character, and it'll be Dispatius Dirtius.
Medi, can you clean the shape of a cock off his forehead?
Tempting.
I'm assuming he's probably taken a bit back by the fact that his clothes have just started cleaning themselves.
Yeah, he kind of looks and looks at his hands as they start to kind of take on a more clean appearance.
I'm gonna just giggle like a little schoolgirl and wink at him and grab Medi by the elbow. So it seems like I might already be taken tonight. This fine gentleman is entertaining.
Well, it's been a while since I've had a bath. This'll do.
God. That is just bogging.
He kind of he smiles at you, slightly gap-toothed, and he takes a big long swig of his ale. Well, lassie, I might see you tonight then, yeah? With my clean hands, and he holds one of his hands up, kind of towards your face.
I'm just gonna dance back out of the way.
The other one kind of chuckles. Playing hard to get, Ian. She won't be hard to get tonight. She'll be loving it.
Shall we go inside and see what's happening? Maybe grab something to eat.
This Rage is just like, I don't eat.
No.
This guy spent far too long in the tavern while I stand outside.
We can spend
Do
this.
you really want to eat in this shithole?
I don't.
We can give you some metal spoons. Didn't we just go see Toaster?
Why, Mehdi, why do you always want to eat all the time?
Because
Well, it is kind of a requirement of you, like meat bags.
If it's always Mehdi that brings up, let's get some food.
Because
morning,
that's
we've
what
not
you
eaten.
need people.
Yeah.
We've not eaten since we left
Tieflings
the
do, they eat people. I mean, food.
That's right, yes. Long pig.
Okay, when you go inside the Silver Crown, and it certainly does not live up to its name. Sawdust scattered across the floor. There's a couple of broken tables and several broken bar stools and chairs shoved in a corner. Half the floor is empty. Well, would be empty of furniture. There's probably another dozen or so miners in here, all in various states of inebriation, judging by the amount of sway and the loud talking that's going on. Every now and then, people kind of just spit down on the floor or into little spittoons, slap each other on the back and get a bit loud as somebody kind of utters some kind of joke. But
So
as you
it's a working man's club then.
Yeah, as you all walk in, though, it goes silent.
Yep, definitely working man's club.
And then one or two people carry on the conversation, and then gradually the noise starts to build back up again. A rather big, well-built man, kind of slightly balding, mutton chop sort of facial hair, muscular.
Rage's brother.
Rage's brother, yeah. Yeah, exactly like Rage. Cloth in his hand, cleaning a, well, I say cleaning, more like moving dirt around the inside of a flagon. Comes over. Ah, you new folk round here, yeah? Well, welcome to my tavern, Silver Crown.
We've been here a few days now, and we're helping people out round here, but thank you.
Ah, you're them adventurers I hear about.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well,
Who's
I
asking?
suppose we are.
We are kind of interested to know what went on last night, and if you've got
Just
any...
the usual.
Well, we heard about the wife business, but more interestingly, there was two outsiders or strangers here last night that seemed to scarper when the constable...
Yes. Yeah, them two. Oddens didn't really take their hoods off.
They were wearing hoods. Isn't that strange around here?
Depends if you want to keep yourself anonymous, doesn't it?
Amber stares up at L'Oreal with her head in her hood.
Ah.
Well, yeah. Black-skinned bastards they were.
Black-skinned? I thought the gentleman outside said they were pale.
Well, these two weren't pale, no.
No,
You're pale.
pasty looking, he said.
Pasty looking.
Can you be pasty looking and black skinned? Can you just be kind of grey?
I think that's probably his term of having no coal on the hands. No soot on the hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what you gather from that. Then is the innkeep goes, he called them pasty ones, did he? Yeah, a bit like you lot. Not seen the inside of a mine before, have you? Not seen the business end of a pick, chipping away at rock. Pasty ones.
Not for a while. I used to live with dwarves.
I'm a bit lost here. Did you say that they were black or pasty? Which is it? These two guys.
Pasty doesn't mean pale. Pasty means that they're like people who have never seen the inside of a mine. So they were clean, basically.
Right, I thought these two guys in the hoods were actually black.
Yes, they were.
Yes.
But
Right,
they could be the people that were described as pasty because they were clean, not that they were white or pale.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Just terminology that the miners may use locally.
Yeah, exactly.
Do we have any idea where black-skinned folk would come from? Are they referring to?
So it depends. So you have the desert folk much further south.
I presume they're probably
a
rarity in these
long way
lands.
south. A long way south. You're talking probably 4 or 5, probably about 300 or so miles away south of where you are. You get to the desert lands and the holy cities, and if you think they're probably more akin to what we would call, Middle Eastern, Persian, Arab, that kind of thing. The people that live in those kind of, so they're all more swarthy, dark-skinned. You have naturally occurring dark-skinned people, humans.
Droughts, I was thinking.
You also have other races that are also dark-skinned. I mean, orcs, although we think of orcs as being green-skinned, their green skin can be anywhere from almost black to bright green.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
and through grey.
And through grey, exactly.
What was sort of the mannerism or build of these two people? And as I'm talking, I'll pull another silver piece out and pass it to him.
He kind of quickly just takes it from your hand, and almost by magic, it just seems to disappear. Well, now you're talking. He says, drinks, ladies and gents? Can't be answering questions on empty stomachs. Can't be asking questions on empty stomachs.
I'll just have some toasted bread with some water if you don't. It's early morning still for me.
Well, if that's what you'd be wanting.
I'll drink.
Man after my own heart.
Kelgar also surveys the bar for a suitable place to perform once we're done with the talking.
There isn't really a suitable place, but there is a broken table with no legs on that you could probably pull out into a corner and stand on as a makeshift platform stage if you wished to.
Okay, sure. Keep that in mind.
Well, by the way, you all realise something. As you're kind of doing this and you kind of glance around, Kurgan's not with you.
Where did we leave Kurgan?
Where did he go?
Where did he go?
The last thing you remember is he was trailing behind you coming down from the hills.
Was he at the farmer's?
No. Now you think about it, he wasn't at the farmer's.
It's a bit weird we didn't notice he was missing for like hours.
Well,
He's normally so quiet.
I was
Easy to
going to
miss.
say, he can either be boisterous
He's the
and
noisy
big or
one.
very quiet.
He's the one who keeps getting us in trouble.
It's been quiet since the caves.
And that's why you've suddenly realised he's not with you. Because he
think he said
hasn't.
He
Not-
had a.
Go on, carry on, L'Oreal.
I think he said he had a dream last night. He was muttering about it this morning.
Well,
He'll be fine.
you all get beers and you get some like slightly brackish brownish water shoved in your hand, Ministra. Not the cleanest of water you've seen. And like 2 pieces of like brown crusty bread that looks like they've been thrown on an open fire for 5 minutes. So a little bit overdone. Well, what were they like, you ask? A bit like him. In build, points to Jet. I'm guessing, Jet, as a wood elf, you're quite slim
Yeah.
and
Slim.
quite lithe, right?
Yes.
Skinny, dark skin.
Aye. Took pains to hide the face, even when they got stuck into the brawl. They were pretty good with those clubs of theirs as well. They had 3 of the men down before they knew what hit them.
Surely they weren't dark elves.
Would they use clubs?
Okay.
Dark
don't know.
elves?
Use anything really.
I've only heard stories when I was young.
Why would dark elves be in my inn? Why wouldn't dark elves be in my inn, I suppose?
That's a good question.
We welcome everybody and anybody. Even your kind. And he kind of gives a nod to Medistra.
Why, thank you, sir. Seems I'm paying you for this. That's really welcome.
But yeah, I'm paying you for this shit. Has anybody got a cure disease?
I would recommend just avoiding swallowing.
Water.
Stay away from that water.
Water,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm drinking the beer.
Beer's fine. Well,
I'm used to it.
the beer's strong.
Is it a bit gritty?
Is it sewage? Just that I'd ask.
I think the beer would be watered down, wouldn't it?
No, actually, the beer's strong, but it tastes shit.
Oh,
And so the strength is there to disguise the fact that it's poor quality ale.
Special brew.
Yay. Has he put a rat in it just to give it a little body?
Yeah. 2 rats
Extra
in it,
protein.
give it extra body.
So the beer's strong but tastes like shit, and the water's shit, and being put across as water. Okay.
Yeah. Did you notice if Samheis was in here last night?
He wasn't here last night. No, he was here the night before talking to old Grizzler. I think they were arguing about Thor again.
Ah,
I keep telling him, leave his religion at the door. The miners don't want to hear it. They'll come for preaching time. They don't want to be preached at. He nearly got thumped the other night.
I could understand that.
yeah, it can be a little bit overzealous, can't he?
Well, no, it wasn't preaching. He grabbed Martyn's missus on the arse.
I will have a little chuckle about that.
Does this lady get grabbed on the ass a lot?
Have you seen her?
I can't say I've had the pleasure.
Right. She's one of them working girls.
Well, I was trying to ask politely, but yes.
Yeah. She comes in here when she's off duty. The miners forget she's off duty and get a bit handsy. Martyn doesn't like it. When they get handsy, Martyn gets punchy.
Martyn, is that her caretaker?
Well, they've been together 5 years. He lets her do her thing. She lets him do his thing. They seem happy.
What is his thing?
Mine foreman.
Ah, right.
He works nights most of the time, apart from 2 nights a week. Last night and the night before. So, like the first 2 nights of every week, effectively, he's off, basically.
And what's the name of his wife? Missed that bit.
No, oh, Jesus, my mind's gone blank.
I keep doing this to you, don't I?
What's the delay on the stream? Quick, go and listen to it.
Yeah, what's the delay on the
Yeah.
stream? Really quick. She's called Selyna. There you go.
Or at least she is now.
Yeah.
And the guy's name was what? Sorry,
Martyn.
Martyn.
Yeah.
So Selyna and Martyn. Just to be a little bit, posh.
Which did they head north into the hills? You said, or
Well, he just scarpered outdoor when old Garland turned up, blowing his whistle, ringing his bell, and yelling for it to stop. They slipped out the he says they slipped out the window over there, and that's it. Disappeared into the dark.
very strange. And I take it you'd not seen them around here before.
I will investigate the window.
You may investigate the window. Give me an investigation check. No, can't say I'd seen him before. It's a window, dark. Shutters, no glass. Plenty of scuff marks. It looks like they wouldn't have been the only people to have ever gone out the window. It looks like the window is used regularly as an escape route.
That's no good to me.
When the Rozzers turn up.
Could I look at the debris of the
Sure.
chairs on the table to see if in the fight anything was dropped by anybody and was brushed in a moment?
Okay.
It would have been
Broken
picked up by anybody with.
because in a fight you could have things taken off you, ripped off you, or such.
Go for it.
But these people would have just picked it up and not go ahead to hand it in to lost property. $20.
Yeah, that's what's fine.
Natural 20. Buried amongst the rubble, you find a brooch. The brooch looks like a... Hold on. Let's see if I can... the brooch, I'm just trying to find the symbol, a symbol for this. So I can show it to you. Okay, I'll try and describe it to you. So it looks like it's a tarnished blackish, sorry, deep grey metal, small brooch about sort of that kind of size. On it there is a symbol, an imagery in slightly darker. Hold on. I can do this.
Draw it on the map. Yay.
I don't know if I can drop it into here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw it in Discord. It's not going to help our streamers. Well, it might do if Medi, but that's what it looks like. Oh no, I've posted it in Clan UK. Damn it. Not in the right place. I've posted it in the wrong place. Delete that. Let's post it in our D&D chat, shall we? There we go. I'll try and get it into here 1 second.
That? Do I recognise the symbol?
You do not.
It's obviously a spider of some kind.
It does appear to be a spider. Okay, now I can do this. So I can now share this. Everybody should have observer rights. And I think I can do this.
You can.
There you go. That should now have worked.
Yay.
How common is knowledge about the drow? Would we know there's connections to them and spiders, or?
You would, yes, you would probably, you would in particular, I would say, with your bardic knowledge, would know tales of drow elves and their link to spiders.
Can I make a history check on this and just see if I have looked
Yeah,
through many
yeah,
books?
give me a history check. It's going to be a tough one, but give me a history check.
Far skinny, dark people covering their heads are drow. That would tie up with that. They like to worship spiders.
I'd heard stories as a youngster, but nothing.
What more gets your attention though is the face-like image that is sat between the spider leg. That is, well, you don't know what that is.
Out of character, it looks like a space hopper.
Like pattern with fangs.
Is it a particular cult of theirs that?
It could be an individual family or something.
I know nothing
Or an
about these
offshoot.
people.
But it seems to confirm my worry.
Why would they be here though? And why would they be starting the fight?
Seems a bit of a coincidence that our priest has gone missing at about the same time they've just been here and then disappeared.
Yep.
I said that already.
Yep.
Kelgar only listens to Kelgar.
Perhaps the constable might know a little more. May have seen where they fled to.
He might have. People might have reported seeing people with hoods around town to him.
Possibly, Amber.
He'll be at the church though, won't he? Investigating. So should we go over there?
Yeah, we can walk across the back, yeah. And then we're making the path between the two then.
It would be worth keeping an eye out for any trail or markings.
Is it a map? Or the circle above the spider? What's it? A picture of a little monster.
It looks to you like a face, like a demonic face.
So they were seen fleeing to the north, did somebody say?
I don't know, I was asking.
Fled
To the
out
hills.
of the yes, the
The
people
hills were
outside
north.
said they thought they'd fled to the north. You to get a read, you don't really know. They went out of the window to
But
this
north,
side of the inn.
North could be anywhere that way. Up to
This,
north to northeast.
it could be anywhere to that kind of direction, really.
Yeah.
Which gives you what that gets you would be again back towards the differing hills. and to areas where some of the mines are operating.
So the mines could be a source.
Where are the mines anyway? I don't think
They're
you've told us.
in the differing hills. You may, travelling up to the pillar, you might have seen the entrance to one of the mines en route.
Okay.
So this is just to the east. There's that field. If this was all arranged and they came out straight after the fight, then they may have met somebody who was bringing Samheis out, and then fled off. So it would have been kind of via the end of that field if they were heading up into the hills.
What, that field?
Yeah.
This house here. What's that house there?
And that's just a farmhouse. It's
Uh,
a large field.
do you want to see what the farmer might have seen?
He could have possibly looked out on that night if he's heard the whistles.
That's true, because the constable was banging his, or whatever he was making noise with, wasn't he?
Yeah. Won't do any harm. Go and have a word, and then we can go quickly go there, and then go to the church. So it's a quick, 2-minute conversation in it, and then go back down.
Okay.
If we don't do it, then we'll never know.
Mm-hmm. Better him to ask and him not know anything than not asking him know everything.
You're heading over to the farm then?
Yeah.
Okay. The
Really
farm,
small farm.
the farmer is in his field. And he appears it's middle-aged human. Actually, middle-aged half-elf. And he's kind of tilling the land, just kind of hoeing it, tilling it, kind of just preparing it probably for some more seeds or some other kind of plants. As you kind of head across his fence and into his land, he stops, kind of rests his hoe against his side and puts his hand over his eyes to just track you as you walk towards him.
Careful where I'm stepping.
Yeah, no worries. As you get closer, he... Can I help you?
Yeah, we're just working with the deputy really. There was a disturbance in the tavern.
Isn't a disturbance in the tavern. Drink, fight.
Yeah,
So what they do?
this involves some out-of-towners who may have fled through your land. So we're just wondering whether you saw anything.
That's I did last night, was it?
Yes.
I tucked up in bed by sundown.
That's fine. We just didn't know whether you'd been woken up by the whistle.
Didn't hear anything. Didn't hear anything at all. Living this close to that place, I'm kind of used to the noise. I don't pay much attention to it. Probably wouldn't even wake up if the damn place burnt to the ground.
Do I get the feeling he's telling the truth?
Insight check.
Who's got the that ring of...
Medallion
Oh, Kurgan's. Kurgan's got the ring of whatever it is, isn't he?
Medallion of thoughts, yeah. Yeah, give me a bit. Yeah, he's telling the truth.
Yeah, I thought he might be. I'm just going to nod and say, I thank you for your time.
No problem.
Just before we go, though, you haven't noticed any of your field been disturbed through the night, have you?
No.
No, like
The
footprints?
moles digging through the field as usual.
Sorry, the what, sorry?
Moles.
Oh, the moles, right. No, thank you for your time.
I assume by moles you mean of the rodent variety and not some kind of slur for the miners.
Yeah, rodent variety.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're done. Let's go to the constable.
Is it worth going to Towster first, or?
We'll tie this off first, then we can go
Yeah.
to Telstra after, can't we?
All right. You you get back to the temple. The constable is kind of just checking the area, kind of wandering around outside, looking at things. One of the militia is kind of following him. A couple more militia near the front door, stopping people who might want to come in. Gerald kind of nods at you as you kind of come over from the back area. Well, doesn't seem to be anything here.
We've just been to the tavern, the Silver Crown, and they mentioned the disturbance last night and a couple of hooded out of towners were in and around. You didn't happen to see them at all, did you? When you bust up the fight?
You went to.
Yeah.
They've already gone out the window.
No, I can't say I did.
But have you seen anyone, or has anybody reported some strange people wandering around town?
Yeah, you.
Not me. Other people in hoods and.
Well, you asked a question. A couple of the old folk in town have asked about you lot and who you are and the fact that you're from around here.
My folk? You mean halflings?
No, old folk.
Oh, sorry.
Do you think we should? I'm whispering off to the side to Medistra. Do you think we should show him the symbol we found?
He might know since he used to be an adventurer.
Well, that's true, but I was hoping to. I was going to show it to Towster first, but if you think maybe because he used to be an adventurer, like you say, maybe he may be able to shed some light on this, and I'll obviously.
He's also the law and he should know. But he doesn't mean he needs to keep it. We can just say we found this. Here, have a look at it, and then we're going to take it to Towster anyway.
Yes, well said.
We I know it's a bit strange, but we found this symbol on the floor. We think it was probably one of the out of town folk. I don't know if you know anything about the dark elves, but I mean I've only heard tales when I was a child. But this does seem like one of their symbols.
May I? He holds out his hand.
Do I have the symbol? Did someone pass it on to me, or thought
I would.
Yeah, I'll hold it up for him. Yeah, we thought we might take it to Towster to see if he would know any more.
He takes it out of your hand and he kind of looks at it and he turns it over and Well, if I was a betting man, and I'm not, but even so, I think you're right. That's a symbol of the Dark Elves. Can't say I know what symbol, who it might be, but I wager my month's salary that is definitely Dark Elves.
Well, I suppose that just confirms what we thought as well.
You think they're behind the missing?
Seems a coincidence that they'd be in town and then vanish on the same night that he potentially did. There's also been those bandits we talked about looking for people with magical abilities.
Yeah,
I don't know whether it's related.
I've heard you mention them before. You think they've got Samheis?
I don't know, but weren't some orcs also tracking down spellcasters?
We've had orcs,
Bandits,
now potentially dark elves. Maybe they're all working for one master.
That's my concern as well, and
It would be a mighty
Dark
powerful
Elves
master.
work for one master, and that's their goddess. So if they're working for somebody else, and then he just kind of stands there, and it literally just shivers. Is it me or has it gone cold?
it's an uncomfortable thought, I'll admit, and this is why we said perhaps you should talk to your militia. It seems that this is escalating. To take someone from the town, you know, they've been taking travellers on the road before, and
They get bold.
this seems like an escalation. Yes,
But to what aim?
we don't know, but this is why we're worried about Jeleneth. Nothing good from what I've heard of Drow.
Hang on, out of character. The guy we're going to go see in a minute, that's the mage, isn't it?
Correct.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, he might be next if they're getting bold enough to come into town.
He might be gone.
Yeah.
Oh, good point.
This is my worry if they're picking around the outsides of the town.
Why is Ed smiling?
You guys just give me so many ideas.
Because he's a happy chappy.
He's like going,
Many ideas.
I'll take that. Yes, I'd not thought of that. We'll run with that one.
Yeah, so many ideas. You're brilliant. You are.
You could write a book on us.
I think I need to call town council.
Perhaps we should go and see Toaster.
Yes, we'll check on him.
Are you planning on staying around for the next few hours?
I think we will, yes.
Yeah.
So you're not going to go down to the swamps and investigate that area for the rest of the day?
Do you think we could?
Getting a sudden urge to head over there.
Yeah, if you have the meeting later on, we'll come back for it.
Side quest time.
Well, he says, only reason I'm asking is I think maybe you should be present at the town council meeting tonight. It'll have to be tonight. It usually takes that long to pull it together. We will meet in the private rooms in the Baron of Mutton. 7 o'clock tonight.
Which is number 2, isn't it?
Which is about 7.5 hours away. It's not long, really.
Well, on the way to Towster, I want to pop into the stables and deposit some of our money.
Okay.
I'm sure it was on the way, wasn't it?
Yep. In fact, I think it was these buildings here, wasn't it? Or am I confusing? No, I'm confusing that with
It was it 9?
Yeah, number 9.
number 9.
Yeah, there was the kennels and stables there.
Yeah, Nafton's Kennels and Stables.
What was number Where's the Baron of Mutton?
Baron of Mutton is
Number
number
two.
2.
And that's the posh inn, isn't it?
The posh inn, yeah. That's where
What?
you've been staying.
They have less brownie water.
They do have less brownie water.
I don't think we've got time to head anywhere else if we're to be back here for the evening.
The swamps were a good 20 miles away, weren't they?
I don't think they're that far.
Not that far.
The swamps are 5 miles away.
Oh, sorry.
Maybe 6.
So that's maybe 2 hours travel.
But wasn't
there
it
and
more
back?
sort of over here we were supposed to be going, wasn't it?
Well, the swamps start about 2 hours directly south of where you are, and then they travel sort of 10, 15, almost 15 miles south west
Yeah, towards Ryfield.
towards Ryfield.
So if we wanted to, we could speak to Towser now. We could deposit the stuff. We could head out, spend an hour looking at the outskirts of, just make a preliminary check around the outside, and then come back.
That sounds good. That does sound good.
Wait, but what are we depositing?
Monies and goods that we've picked up, so that we've got more.
I didn't know there's a bank in town.
Oh, there isn't. There's just a chest we've got.
Oh, really? They left that at the wizard's place.
Then it's at the stables with the horse, the stables with the horse and cart that says Medistra's swag. See ya.
My maul, was that ready today? It was, wasn't it? It was the day after. The armour was the day after that.
I've got it
No,
written
it
down.
should be today because mine was the 5th, but it's been brought forward to the 4th, and yours was brought forward to the 3rd.
Yeah. Right.
That is correct.
So I'll go pick my maul up, but I'll also mention that we've got some
Armour.
some sets of armour that
Okay.
he. I don't know whether he purchases for Adryan.
This guy's going to be able to outfit a whole army in a minute because the amount of half plate we keep bringing back to him.
Breastplates and a couple of chain shirts, I think.
Yeah.
It'd be ideal for a city militia.
That's it. I was thinking, if things are heating up, they'll probably want to equip the militia and get more militia. And it probably would be Adryan that funds that, I would have thought.
Good point, I thought that.
He has significant investment in this area, so
Yeah. And it'll be nothing to him to fund that, to be honest with you.
But it's his shop, really, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you can collect your maul. It looks good. The work is as you was expecting, to the standard that you were hoping for, with all the right symbols and iconography on the maul that you'd asked for. Overall, he's done a very good job.
I will thank him for it, and I'll say I really needed them all, so thank you very much. But as it was, I picked this one up while I was out.
I was about to say, does he notice the other one sort of glowing?
It doesn't glow, but
fine
thank you.
craftsmanship.
It's
Yeah.
excellent craftsmanship.
And he acknowledges that, and he's very grateful for your patronage.
Like I say, I'll mention that we've got sets of armor if he is in the line of purchasing for Adryan, the guy that runs his shop.
Okay, so what armor are you looking to sell?
We have 6 breastplates and 2 chain shirts.
I've just lowered your breastplates to 6 because I wasn't sure if Soren had taken one off for lumber already.
We had 7 before, so 6 is correct.
We had 7. 6 is right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. He looks at them. Well, I can take them off your hands, but I can't pay. I can't fully pay you in cash. So I can offer you 500 gold and a 500 gold IOU promissory note, which you can use for services rendered or cash it in over time.
Would that be just here, or would that be at any of Darian's establishments?
Well, technically, it'd be just here, but we could have a word with Darius and see whether, Darian, and see whether he.
Well, it is Darius. Sorry, it's Darius.
Darius,
yeah.
yeah.
I said it wrong.
Whether he would honour it across his other establishments. Aye.
Perhaps you could take half of them off our hands.
Possibly, yeah. You don't have to take them all.
Well, I could take half. I can offer you 450 for one of the chain shirts and 3 of the breastplates.
Do you know that's too unreasonable given
Get your the constables get their armour from you.
Well, Darius provides for the militia, yes.
we're not exactly in a big city. I'm sort of saying. If you perhaps that much gold and I think we lost a few weapons in our recent travels. I needed a replacement dagger, and I don't know if Medistra, did you?
Thank you for reminding me. Yes, I've lost a mace and a dagger. Something I don't use very often, but they came in handy recently.
Well, the daggers I can do. The mace I'll have to make.
Can I sell my core stuff, please?
Yeah, sure. How much is it normally?
I have no idea. How do I find out?
Oh,
It's probably about 2 silver pieces, I think. So this is like a stick, basically.
It says 1 times 0.2 gold.
yep. So 2 silver pieces, which means you could sell it for a silver.
Okay.
No,
Decent stout stick.
Don't worry about the mace from you. I just quite happily take a dagger for now.
Okay. Just add a dagger to your character sheet. Yeah. Right. So you're going to sell the 3 of the armors and the 1 of the chain shirts.
Yes, for 450, I think you said.
450.
Yeah. I will take a dagger to replace the one I had eaten.
Okay, I've added 450 gold to the party sheet and reduced your items accordingly.
Brilliant, thank you.
How do I remove something from my inventory?
Unlock your character sheet and then delete. Right click and delete.
I don't get the delete option.
Hold on, let me do it for you.
By the way, I just linked it in chat by accident. What does versatile mean? I mean,
You can use it in
2 hands to improve the damage.
Ah.
I slipped one of my daggers into my left boot and the other's on my belt.
Okay. No problem.
Cat attack!
Cat attack, yeah.
Must be cat o'clock because mine's just coming as well.
It is absolutely cat o'clock. This is grumpy arse.
Oh, should we go and see Tasta, or do we wish to briefly head to the swamp and back?
we're close to Towster because Towster's only just up the road here. So I think personally that let's just spend a moment with Towster. He might have more information about Jelennith as well. You never know.
He may be able to tell us more about this amulet as well.
Yeah, it's worth a 30-minute stay with him, and then we can head out. 2 hours, like I said, 2 hours out. A little bit of a recce of it, and then come back.
Could go and visit that property.
Oh, yeah, check out
What do
our
you mean
investment.
that property? It's our property.
Wait, when do we buy property?
Where have you been?
Ago.
Where have you been, Ember? We bought a shithole in the middle of nowhere for nothing.
Well, you guys did.
Oh, is that's the place that's been in the swamp, isn't it?
Yep.
Oh. I thought you meant that tower that was somewhere else.
You still give us some idea of how quickly that swamp is expanding.
Wait, so we now got 2 properties, have we? Both of them are in really shit places.
This one doesn't have a healing circle, though.
This one's even worse.
It's basically a pool.
It's a hot tub time machine. We'll be fine.
Well, we should head up the road towards Tauster's place after thanking the smith.
Okay. Smith thanks you. He gives you your gold. You head across town towards Tauster's place.
Is his door slightly ajar?
No, his door is closed.
I'd like to knock on Tauster's door.
Euphemism?
Not in this case.
Okay.
You
Perhaps
knock
later.
on Tauster's door. After a few moments, the door opens and the wizard is kind of stood there. Yes, yes.
Good
you.
afternoon, Tauster. How are you?
Well, I'm all the better for seeing you, my dear.
Oh, thank you. We're still looking for Jelennith, but we've run into a few strange things over the past day or two. And we're wondering if you might be able to shed any light on it.
Well, what have you run into?
Well, where should I start? The obelisk, or the medallion, or anything else?
Well, start at the beginning and finish at the end. That's what I tell all my students. By the way, have you seen my student? Have you seen Jelennith?
We're still looking for
missing.
Tauster.
You've not found her?
No, not yet. We're very worried for her.
I'm beginning to think that woman doesn't want to be here.
I don't think that's true. I think she may have either gotten lost or maybe taken.
Taken? Who would take her?
Well, that's what
She's
we're
a
trying to
lovely
find out,
girl.
Tauster.
Wow.
We'll relay the fact that that priest, although I think he doesn't get on particularly well with the priest, has gone missing. And that we found a couple of clues, including this potentially drow amulet. Also, I'll ask him if he has any divination capabilities that might be able to track someone with a personal item.
He looks at the. Well, so you tell him about the pillar, and he kind of nods, and well, that's very very unusual. You think it's a gibbering mouther?
Indeed.
I don't really know, but some of my companions believe it is, and it seems to be quite ghastly creature that's been turned to stone.
Oh, fascinating. Maybe I'll make a trip out there and see what I can discover about it.
Uh-oh. You should be very careful. There's some dark magic lays on that thing.
I'm
It's
always
dangerous.
careful, young lady. Always careful. I mean, it's not like I go about casting fireball at anything that I see, though I could. Have you seen fireball? It's a great spell.
I understand it's one of your very favourites.
Yes, I could show it to you right now. I have it prepared.
Oh, please do.
Not indoors.
Perhaps we could see it later on. Are you attending the town council tonight?
Town council meeting being called?
I think the constable's calling one this evening. About
I haven't got the
7 o'clock.
message.
Perhaps he hasn't head up the hill yet.
He's a strange one, that constable. Always spending time with his animals. I've always said he needs a woman in his life. Somebody like that lovely Selyna. Have you seen Selyna?
Is that Selyna at the Silver Crown?
Yes.
It sounds like a number of men have seen Selyna.
Yes. So you've not seen any sign of Jelena then?
No. Hoping you may have heard something, or perhaps.
I wonder where that girl has got to.
We think she's in the woods or to the north.
The woods?
Well,
Do you know what's in the woods, young lady?
Well, that's what the druid told us.
Gorgons and some strange ruins.
Gorgons and strange ruins indeed.
I can't remember. Have we asked him about the ruins before? I don't think we have.
No,
Don't
you
think so.
haven't.
We've been warned that there's dangerous things in the woods, so we haven't investigated much more. As I said, I was hoping you might have some divination magic that you could perhaps use to help us track down somebody.
2 groups of people, to be honest with you. We have two amulets.
We do. One is this, the drow amulet. We believe it's drow. And did we have the priest's amulet?
I have divination magic. I just don't have it in memory today. But I could do it tomorrow, if that would help.
Can I just ask, Taz, if you have divination magic, why haven't you used it to find Jelena?
It feels kind of cheating, doesn't it? And he pats you on the cheek. But perhaps now is the time to try and use it.
Well, perhaps. Do we have any more questions for him, or should we try and see him tonight?
I do. What's divination magic?
Well, young lady, it's magic.
Well, this is our character, to be honest, really, guys.
It's magic that allows you to sometimes. Some of divination magic allows you to basically see an object or a creature or a person across, a vast distance.
So it's the Eye of Sharon, those ball thingies, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, things like that. The
Palantir,
Palantir, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it can also, you could appeal, like a priest could perhaps appeal to a deity for an answer to a question, or.
Oh, I thought it was like a spell that tracked whoever it last belonged to.
Well, that's what we were hoping for, yeah, for the amulets.
Hold on. Why hasn't he done this before? Because he says to you, well, it's a rather expensive spell. I would need components worth about 1,000 gold pieces to make it happen, so I don't really cast it very often. But if you're saying that Jelena is missing and that you can't find her, then I guess now is a good time to use it.
No, Master Towster, I wasn't meaning anything like that. It's just I didn't realise how much these things cost. But then again, I couldn't put a price on Selyna's life. So I wouldn't like to say why or whether. I just wondered if it was just I deal in cantrips, not expensive spells like yourself. Yet.
I think it's possibly one that you keep in your back pocket.
Mm.
Yeah, you kind of threw me with a question, and I did go through my head of why wouldn't he use it, because he is a 9th level wizard, and then I looked at how expensive scrying is to cast and realised that's why you wouldn't use it. It uses material components worth 1,000 gold pieces.
Do you need something that ties to the individual, or does it just? Can you just look? You need to know where you were looking, wouldn't you, as well?
Depends how well you know the person.
Yeah.
As well.
As long as you know the person and they're on the same plane of existence as you, you can find them. But the person gets a wisdom saving throw. So, she would be at -5 because he's familiar with her, and he probably has. He could probably find a lock of her, which would put her on a -15 to the saving throw.
I presume she wouldn't be trying to resist being found as well.
Yeah.
You never know.
So the difficulty, the likely, it's going to be very, it can be very easy for him to make the save. Put it this way.
Nothing, a merry band of orcs and bandits and. Tell us, my friend, did you know anything about this amulet? That's all this drow.
He takes a look at the amulet, and he kind of puts it in, and he kind of stares at it for a moment, and then he gives it back to you. Well, I think I'll get ready for the town meeting.
Okay. Well, we can head out to the swamp then.
Indeed. We'll look forward to seeing you this evening. Hopefully we can get some clues as to where Selyna is after that.
Medi, give me an insight check.
I certainly will do.
When he looked at that amulet and just handed it back without saying anything, did he eyebrows raise or anything?
Mine certainly did.
Oh, I thought it was a bit weird.
His hand shook, and he handed it back to you very quickly and clearly changed the subject.
That was the drow amulet, right? Because my cat was being an asshole. Yeah. As he still is.
Mine's gone to sleep.
Mine's about to throw some very smelly liquid on the floor. Caught it.
In your hand?
Yes, that's just basically dive across the room.
Wow.
Good save.
You just let your cat throw up in your hand.
I was about to throw some very smelly liquid on the floor. We've got some mosquito repellent plug-in stuff, and I didn't really want that soaking into the carpet if you knocked it all over. A little glass bottle that you put in like a little infuser thing. So.
I thought it was something like that, or you were being very, very good and letting it piss in your hand. I wouldn't take that one for the team. Just kick the fuck out.
Yeah, I would as well.
Straight out the window.
I'm presuming we noticed it. Omidistra mentioned it.
Yeah, I would definitely mention that, and
perhaps part of his adventuring career before, he did mention losing a number of friends and.
But did you see the reaction the constable had as well? It was very similar to this.
Really?
Huh? What are you guys talking about?
The constable had a very similar reaction where he had a chill come over him, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
understand why I could have a chill from the stories I heard as a child, but perhaps they know more.
Do you think there's a history in this town?
Wow.
Where do drows generally live? And this is me in character, not me generally asking. But where do drows live? I know nothing of these.
They live on. Oh, sorry, I wouldn't know with that.
Underground is what I've heard.
And this is a mining village with mines that go underground. Maybe a mine has gone further than it was supposed to go.
Perhaps. But surely, from what I've heard of these drow, they are vicious and they wouldn't permit that kind of thing. They would have killed everyone.
But then if they're that vicious, why are two quite happily wandering through this town and going drinking at a tavern? Or going to a tavern?
I don't know.
I still think those two were a distraction for what was happening at the church.
Well, should we head to the swamp, or should we try and
I think we
keep
need
an eye out in town?
We need some thinking time, and we do our best thinking when we're moving. So yes, let's go to the swamp, I think.
You're right. We should.
Wait, you mean we do our best thinking when we're fighting?
Yeah, when we're moving from A to B, I think we can chat along the way rather than.
Yep.
I'm going to deposit gold and things into my wagon, like I said, which I will have done at the stable.
Not your wagon. It's our
Yes,
wagon.
it's my wagon. I bought it.
With the money from the party, not your own.
My money.
I actually thought it was Medistra's money.
Yeah, it
Yeah, it
was.
was Medistra's. He paid from his own money.
Was it? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So we have 2 or 3 miles to go if we head south.
Okay.
Can I put some of my gold in that chest? Because I'm getting a bit over encumbered on nearly.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's for. I mean, like I said, I'm just going to put my 1,715 copper in there.
Actually, we do get money does weigh, right? Sorry.
It does, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It does grow on trees as well.
Yay! I'm
You
going
just
to
need
put
to
this.
find the Mooney tree.
I'm going to put this in a journal, just so I know.
So how much is 187 gold pieces weigh?
It's worth 187 gold pieces.
Yeah, but how much does it weigh?
Um,
Can I find that out somehow?
Do you want me to wait for you? Where, hey! Oh, that's a bad joke.
I think it's like 10. Is it 10 or 100 coins to a pound? Can't remember.
hold on. Coin weight, 5th edition.
100 coins weighs £2.
There you go.
Oh, that's probably why I'm so encumbered.
Yep,
I
that
can
is
remember.
probably why you're so encumbered. Right, here's what
Well, I've just saved 45 weight by putting that copper into there. So if anybody wants to put their copper into my wagon, feel free.
Does that mean we just put it in the party loot? No, that's not what we do, is it?
yeah, put it into the party loot.
Oh, I never thought about pilot.
Can you create a container in the party loot? That's all.
Yeah, there is a party loot container in there, but you
I could just make a note of what I've put in there, I suppose. Yeah, hang on. Who's guarding over this chest of ours then?
It's in the stables. It'll be fine. I paid the stable duties, and this chest is actually I had it put under, didn't I? Under the actual wagon itself, rather than on top.
Yeah.
But £34. Sorry, was that silver? I thought it was 40. My math is rubbish.
If you just add your gold to the party treasure, just make a note in your journal of how much of your personal money you've contributed back to the party treasure, then you can assume that the party treasure is what is stored in that chest.
Okay.
Can I ask? The party, let's click on that. Oh, here we go. That's probably why.
We don't have an NPC cart, do we?
No.
Right, you should also have in items access to a bag called Mule. We'll just use that as the cart. But I would say it's easier to just stick everything into that NPC part, that PC party, just so you're storing it all there. Okay, you're going to head southwards towards the general direction where you think your farmstead is.
Yes.
Okay. Who's taking the lead and trying to find the place?
I'll lay Jet.
Jet, roll with advantage. Okay. The journey takes you southeastwards towards the border between 4017, 41117, and 41118. So about here. And actually, by the time you get to that location on the map, you're already inside the swamp, which, as you can see, let me do this. You should now be able to see a black outline.
Yep.
Yep.
That is the extent of the swamp. And so as you arrive, you realize, it is bigger than you expected it to be. And it is it does seem to be kind of running in, well, it's hard to tell. It grows, but it doesn't grow massive, it doesn't grow visibly in just staring at it to see.
But we can see where it's kind of taken over more. Yeah,
because you've got normal foliage, you've got outlines of fields and things that are now partially covered in swamp water.
Is there a sort of current with this? Because I mean, we've been in swamps before, and they're normally stagnant and don't move.
Give me either a nature check or a survival check, please.
Who's doing that?
Whoever's got it trained. Somebody has to have it trained to roll.
I've got proficiency in it.
I've got nature trained.
I've got survival trained.
If you're trained, if you're proficient in survival or nature, give me a roll. Jet.
Changing those dice, the shit.
They're really nice, those dice.
May look it, but the crap.
There is a very slight current that seems to be heading northeastwards. Northeastwards.
Well, I'll tell the party this.
It's almost towards Noltec, isn't it?
But actually, it's more like it's... So where you are, it's northeastwards.
Yeah, it's heading to Noltec, isn't it?
But you would you wonder if you are sort of to the south of the swamp, whether it would be heading southeastwards, sort of radiating out from a specific location.
Ah, right.
Were we able to see that river at all when we were in the higher ground in the differing hills? Or
When you're in the hills, you would have been able to see the river. Yes.
does it seem to be coming from where the rivers meet, or
You don't know.
okay.
Did you want to circumnavigate the swamp to see if the direction changes?
I think that's a very good idea if you have the time.
Take a while to go around the whole edge.
No.
If it's growing, perhaps it's growing from the middle,
But
spreading from a source.
like, you mean like when you tap a well and the water comes up and then just disperses?
Yes, yeah. Or perhaps when you dam a river. I think perhaps the main water source is where we should try and find that, and then see whether it's we can follow the water source down to the obstruction.
Wouldn't this be the water source?
Sorry, or where the swamp's spreading from, rather than the initial source.
Are you going to continue looking for your farm, or are you going to now detour and start heading sort of westwards?
I'm more concerned about how deep this would be by now, because I'm sure this isn't all flatland.
No, it's not all flatland. Well, actually, no. Where the swamp is, it is flatland. It's kind of run straight off the hills into a fairly flat plain area. There are, here and there'll be a few crevices and things like that, but there are no rolling hills in this area. Certainly the vicinity of the swamp, at least.
Okay, well, let's go with your idea then, in which case. And let's head to the west.
We could use, if we walk down the edge of the swamp, we could maybe use the flow of the water to try and pinpoint the source.
No, that's a very. You're so wise in these things.
2 or 3 points, maybe.
Well, if we move, it would take us an hour or so to get to here, and then maybe to come back. That would be another 2 hours to get to maybe here. So if we go to the river to the west, and then maybe to the opposite side of that river on the east, and like you say,
how easy is it to navigate the swamp? Is it patches? Is there
Yes, there are patches. So there are bits of higher ground, and there are lower bits around it that are now covered in water. Yes.
So how well, I would imagine the depth would vary depending on how far in you go and which direction you go, I would imagine.
Correct. Yes.
We haven't got a skiff, have we?
How do you mean?
No.
Do you mean a boat?
A boat that's shallow.
We have a house, which could be a boat.
Could we search was wondering whether or not there are any people who
There are
navigate.
meant to be fishermen in this area.
Is it worth seeing if there's any habitation as we travel around the swamp? I mean, there might be some people that actually work in the swamp.
As I said, there were meant to be fishermen. Some which had gone missing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was thinking.
You say they were down towards the eastern end of the swamp, yes. Perhaps we should head round that way.
I agree.
If anything else, we might be able to find them and ask them some questions, since they know this land well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, back.
Give me a sec. I've lost something. So I'm just trying to find what I've lost. Right, say again, which way do you want to go?
So we're gonna head down this way.
Okay.
Along the edge of the swamp.
Got it.
Keeping our eyes out for sort of habitation, like old huts or buildings of some kind. And also to see if there's any sort of like shallow boats that can be used to traverse the swamp.
Oh, is it? Are we going looking for Ugly Giant?
No, we're trying to ascertain where the source of the water's coming from.
All right, okay. Just that the Ugly Giant was in the west of the swamps, wasn't it?
Mm.
Oh, I wonder if the Ugly Giant
keep an eye out for that as well.
might have something to do with why the swamp is backing up.
Possibly.
He's sitting on a pog hole.
He might have a pet giant beaver.
Damn.
Well, I thought it was.
I enjoyed it.
Nothing wrong with a pet giant beaver. Might not be anything right with a pet giant beaver either, but there's not a lot wrong with one.
If you can make your pet giant beaver cause floods, then you're gifted.
You can ask Selyna all about that.
Don't go there.
Okay. You're heading. All right, well, move yourself along the swamp. Tell me what you're looking for.
Can't move it. We're going this way.
Yeah. We looked at the flow. Sorry.
Yeah, so any sort of habitation, any like huts or evidence of habitation as we're going down, and also paying close attention to the water movement. Does it seem to radiate still to the northeast?
So where you are now, it's sort of radiating northwards more than anything. And yes, there are signs of habitation and habitat, but most of the farmsteads that are inside or around the black barrier that I've highlighted there are empty and vacated.
Okay. If the water is traveling sort of towards us north, then wouldn't you assume that the actual source is going to be south?
Well, wherever the water is building up from, yes.
So the question is, do we head south into the swamp?
That was my thought. But there's no harm using a little caution if we have a number of days to investigate.
Yeah, but we've got to be back for the town council.
My point exactly. Do we want to go blundering into the centre of the swamp now, or
Not for too long. It'll take us, what, 2 hours to get back? Two and a bit hours?
It took you 2 hours to get to the edge.
Right.
So it'll probably take you. You've probably now travelled sort of 30 minutes. Probably an hour. So it's probably closer to. It's about 3:30, 3:40 in the afternoon. So at this point,
Okay. What time of year again is it?
it is the equivalent of early spring. So it's probably going to get dark in about
An hour or two. Yeah.
2 to 3 hours. And you're now pushing the limit, I would say, on getting back to Noltec for 7.
My concern is if we go wading through the swamp, I don't want to be turned up at a town meeting soaking wet with smelling of swamp water.
Oh, that'd be the last of my concerns.
You have already been wading through the swamp, by the way, in places. You've been trying your best to avoid it, but you are in swampy, boggy land now.
It'll be slow going as well, so the further we go in, the longer it'll take us to get back.
Yeah.
This is definitely a first thing in the morning job.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
This was meant to be just to come to the edge, see what it's like, see how far it's gone, and see if we can spot anything without going too far.
Reconnaissance, and we can. Why not leave a marker here? In fact, do we have something we can put down as a marker so we can come back here and see if it's moved any further overnight?
You would probably be able to rustle something up. Yeah.
Could use that quarterstaff, but somebody sold it.
Oh,
I'm sure there are some branches.
Is it big enough for you?
Party loot.
Needed to be bigger.
Yeah, mine's only the size of a stick.
Yeah. So if there's maybe a branch or something. Well, in fact, I'll ask Jet.
If I had a normal quarterstaff, I'd be like a pole vault.
I'll ask Jet.
Rocks?
Could you find something, Jet, like a branch?
Give me a survival check, Jet.
Okie dokie.
With some guidance.
And advantage if I'm helping.
Yeah, you can have advantage in guidance.
You find 2 rocks.
Yeah, good enough. So, without too much difficulty, you can cobble together sort of a mixture of rocks and old branches to create some kind of marker on the edge of the water at the moment, sort of the edge of the swamp at the moment, and kind of commit the location to memory. You look around for a couple of landmarks and things. As you look around though for landmarks, try and get your bearings. I'd like everybody to make a perception check, please.
I've had some great rolls tonight.
I changed my dice.
Okay. Jet, Rage, both of you, as you've kind of finished kind of putting this together and you're chatting, you're looking southwards over the swamp, trying to key in some potential landmarks, like a couple of, like trees, like a giant figure that's walking west to east about 500 yards away from you and getting closer. Getting closer.
You guys going to mention that?
It's
Or...
getting closer.
Guys,
Hi.
Guys, that's a giant.
You don't know anything about it, Ember. You didn't see it.
Oh, all right. Will somebody say something then?
Just did.
Can I shout out in giant? Hello.
How big a giant is it, do we think?
Huge. And it's lumbering sort of this kind of direction. I mean, I know from a scale point of view, it's not that fast, but it's in your periphery. It's probably 500 to 700 yards to your left at the moment, and it's trudging across the swamp. Every so often it seems to pause, survey around, and then continue. in a sort of an easterly direction.
Rage drops prone.
Okay. Rage, give me a stealth check then, please.
So this is bollocks because I get disadvantage on this for sound, even though I'm not trying to think it. Right, okay.
Have you told us that this giant's coming?
Yeah. I just said,
sorry,
guy, there's a giant there, and I dropped to the floor.
I'm also going to hide.
recognize the giant?
You're not a ranger, are you?
No.
Give me a nature check.
Well, everybody or just
Just Jet. It's a Fomorian.
what the hell's that?
What I'm saying in terms of my backstory, said.
Yeah.
I'm trying to work out whether or not he looks familiar in any way.
Let me have a look at your Jet. Your backstory.
I can't find. Agent
Yes, Jet looks very familiar.
If I can't remember what I wrote the name, so I will shout
Bogash.
out.
Bogash.
So I'll shout out Bogash. And I'll start waving.
You're going to draw attention to yourself.
It's okay.
Hold on, I just need to read your.
Yeah,
Backstory.
I can't find it. I'm sure I sent it to you on. Was it on
Oh,
Discord?
okay. Yeah, I see what you mean. Bogash was a good guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, no, this isn't Bogash.
Ah, right. Then I won't be screaming and waving.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I thought for a second Bogash was a bad guy, but no, Bogash was a good guy.
Yeah.
No, this isn't Bogash. So what you see is a very hunched, almost malformed giant, dark purpley grey coloured skin, wearing a loincloth, carrying a humongous piece of tree, effectively a giant-sized great club.
So
One of the creature's eyes is huge. The other one is very tiny in comparison.
I would have started to wave and then suddenly realised that it's not who I thought it was. At which point I'll drop to the deck and go stealth.
Okay.
So as I recognise that it's not the one I was thinking.
L'Oreal, you throw yourself down in the swamp water and get yourself. You are all basically dropping down into the swamp water and getting muddy and mucky.
That's fine as long as I'm below the level of the reeds.
Yeah.
I'm not bothered.
Seeing
Medistra?
everybody do what they are doing, I'm going to follow suit because
Okay.
I don't know what the heck this thing is. I've never seen one before. So
Okay.
it's stealth, isn't it?
Yep.
That's a party. You need to roll yourself though.
Yeah.
You watch as this thing continues to trudge along your periphery. Now you're all kind of down under reed level and shrub level and kind of half in this dirty, smelly swamp water. You can see this creature, this humongous, this huge giant kind of pauses. And then you watch as it reaches down and you hear a tearing sound as it pulls a roof off a building and sticks its hand inside the building. And then you can hear a bleating sound as the hand comes up with a sheep and the Fomorian, the giant, just simply sticks it in its mouth absently, and the bleat gets cut off as the giant bites through and basically eats the head of the creature. And then it just continues walking. And then after another sort of maybe 200-300 yards, probably kind of almost level with you. It pauses, it turns, it heads southwards. And you kind of watch it kind of disappear into the gloom and the mist of the swamp in front of you. And that is where we leave it for the night.
Do we follow?
Oh, we're stopping early.
We are
Well,
stopping there.
We're going to say bugger this for the Game of Soldiers and leg it back to town.
Absolutely, I'm not following it.
Mr. Hello, you my friend.
How big do we estimate it is then? From having a better look at it.
It is about 15, 16 feet tall.
That's not too bad. It's only
Oh, it might be higher, actually. Hold on, I'll see if I can find out. I'll try and find a description.
How many
That's 3 feet to
stories?
a house,
How many
so-
stories?
It's told about 20 in its life.
No, I mean,
strapped a few rages together, that would be the same size, roughly.
Pretty much. Well, if you cast in large on
And
them.
large, yeah. Twice. Can you
No,
stack?
so it's bigger than that. So hold on.
I would say it's probably more like 30, 40 feet.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. They
Wow.
count as huge, so it is going to
15
be
by 15, isn't it? And I presume it's taller than it is wide.
yeah. So I would say it's somewhere around 20 to 25 feet tall.
Wow.
I mean, cloud giants are 24 feet, roughly speaking. Storm giants are about 26 feet. Hill giants are 16 feet. This thing is bigger than a hill giant. I think hill giants are large, and this is huge.
Yeah, I think hill giants are huge. I think
Oh,
large as you get into ogres, but hill giants are the smallest, aren't they?
Okay, actually, according to Forgotten Realms wiki, they're about 20 feet. So this one is going to be, let's see. I'm going to say.
They're probably just under sort of like.
So this one's going to be quite tall for its race. So it's 25 feet tall. The majority of sort of the extra 5 feet is the huge kind of mutated hump that sits on its back and its shoulders.
is it Chaos Giant?
No.
Oh,
What do we know of? Does anybody know anything about them?
Well, if Jet's got backstory about knowing giants, maybe he does.
So I posted in D&D chat. That's what it looks like.
Oh, they're hideous. The malformed, nasty fuckers.
Wow.
And we come up to about its knee or something.
You come up to about its knee, yeah.
I could take it.
Yeah, we can get that easy.
We just need a handful of arrows.
We just
Stab.
embiggen Rage and then get him to take it alive.
Yeah.
Cast enlarge on Rage and it'll be the same size.
No, he won't.
could.
Rage will go to large.
Yeah.
This is huge.
I've built to its waist.
If we capture it, could it hollow out its hump and use that as our base?
You could.
If we attempt to capture it, Rage will knock it through next week. So.
Yeah, that's right. Keep it alive, Rage.
It's the secret move.
Yeah.
Take it alive.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm willing to bet this has something to do with the swamp getting bigger.
Well, I'm ultimately very glad that we didn't engage because that would have finished the session with roll for initiative, and that's where we'll leave it. Probably.
It would have finished the session with roll for initiative. That's where we leave it. It would have also potentially finished the session with roll for initiative. That's where we leave it. Can you all prep a second character for next week?
Absolutely. And I've already got my second character, so I'll take the one from the Sunday game.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
dear.
I forgot I prepared him.
That is a yeah. So that's a second tier sort of boss creature that you might choose to deal with at some point.
Oh, now we know it's here. Of course we will. Just,
At some
I
point.
think we've just gone into the area that's out of our level.
Yeah.
So now we need to back up a little bit.
Yeah. You've gone into the 5 to 9 level area.
Let's go back and do some grunt work.
Yeah.
You need to grind in one of the other areas. Let me have a look and just for my own delectation see what the encounter builder says. I already kind of guess what it's going to say.
I'm going to say it's deadly.
I also need to spell Fomorian right. I was spelling it wrong. Ooh, it's not deadly.
Is it not?
No,
What CR is it?
it's CR8.
Oh,
It's not deadly because there are 7 of you at level 4.
there was only 5 of us though.
Well,
Wait,
yeah.
what does
Oh,
CR?
6 of us.
Sorry, what does the CR?
It's a challenge rating of the creature. So a challenge rating gives it a certain amount of XP, and because it's a single creature,
So knock that down to 6 people, not 7.
Well, I'm sure that'll knock it down to about 2 or 3 of us by the end of the fight. But
First round.
it's not deadly to all 7 of us. Just
Yeah.
4 or 5 of the 7.
Just the people that need to be close.
The other 2 run away. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got 120 feet on my casting, and I can run at what speed?
30.
Yeah.
I can run at 35.
Well, so you're one of the survivors then.
You can
Just
piggyback me.
remember, you don't need to outrun the creature. You just need to not
Exactly.
be the slowest
Exactly.
runner in the group. And I think that falls to Ember.
Yep.
Except
Well,
that
actually,
Ember
no.
as a rogue can use a
use
bonus
bonus
action to
action.
dash.
Yeah.
So actually, it's no longer Ember.
So
It will be when I cut her legs off.
Do you mean you guys don't get? You can't dash.
Yeah,
as a bonus action.
not as a bonus action, no.
Oh,
As
so you
an
have to
action.
dash as a normal action, whereas I can do it as a bonus action.
Yeah.
Let me just do my character again to get Misty Step.
You need a few of them.
Yeah.
If I picked that feat, I would have got an extra 5 feet, so it would have been 30.
All we'd have to do is open up at sort of like,
Oh, so we kite it basically.
open up at about 120 feet or something like that with ranged weapons. Get it down to half health before it gets on top of us. Hope it doesn't cast anything because it's probably a fucking special. Or throw a house at us. And then,
Can I just mention, when we roll d20s?
yes,
Yeah, it's not going to be on half health then, is it?
change your dice.
We flip the system so the low rolls are good and high rolls are bad instead.
I already did that with my game system, Rich, for you, so...
Yeah, I can hit much better in that.
You need a weapon of giant slaying or something.
They do exist.
Maybe Noltec has one.
Conveniently.
Conveniently.
I'm surprised your weapon wasn't going, shit, look out.
Wasn't surprised.
Wasn't surprised, wasn't ambushed, so
Yeah.
there you go.
That's
You've got a
really
few
good. Look.
plot hooks to think about now.
So, does Jet know anything about Fomorians? Or like a source?
Well, I can speak giant.
So I would say Bogash has probably taught you about all the different giant kind and how to identify them. And of the Fomorian, he would have told you basically stay away from them. They are
Nasty. Evil. Vicious.
they are they okay, so here's what you would know about them. So Bogosh would have told you that they were cursed by they were a giant race that was cursed by the Fae, and they live and reside, generally speaking, in the Underdark.
Perfect. We've got a winner.
And that is where the
Dark
Dark Elves
theme
come
again.
from.
So we've got Drow from the Underdark, we've got Fomorians from the Underdark.
Yeah.
And we've got someone who keeps grabbing lots of magic users.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think there's some kind of weird cult of Loth doing something horrible?
Or something's chasing the people in the Underdark out.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah, when the things from the Underdark come running away from something in the Underdark, you know you've got a problem.
Yeah.
Gosh.
But
Hey,
there is plenty of things for you to mull over before next week.
Yes, and we will be back next Thursday.
We will indeed.
Awesome.
Fantastic. And thanks again, Jet. That's brilliant. I'm going to wind up the stream now. But thanks, everybody, for watching.
Thank you.
And we'll be back next week at 7:15 p.m.-ish.
Indeed.
Awesome. Absolute pleasure,
Awesome.
chaps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.